Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Straight cash, homie.
Hold on to your butts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Basement Monsters Game Day podcast on SportsZone Chicago. Monday Night Football, Steelers versus Bengals. Steelers need to go ahead and look to bounce back, man. They've been called every name in the book, from pretender to fraud. The Steelers need a win. I know the Bengals are garbage, for lack of a better word. They're not good. They're not good. The Bengals aren't good, but you need to win a get-right win, like a remedy type of win, and I think the Bengals provide that here tonight.
Oh, for sure. I mean, without Joe Burrow, there's not going to be much of a contest here. Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, the Steelers could choke again. Who knows?
No, maybe they are frauds.
Right. It's 2020. Anything could happen, right? But yeah, I mean, it's I just feel like the receiving core that the Steelers have and that defense is just going to have a field day against Cincinnati. Mixon's still decent. You still got AJ Green, but I'd like to have seen Joe Burrow in there for this game for sure, because it would have really maybe tested the Steelers a little bit more. But it is what it is. Like you said, the Steelers been losing a couple. They need to get back to they need some get right real quick. And I think you're right. I think this game right here will provide them to get that W.
Well, they're going to be without James Conner again. Dude, it's tough for him. Like he's dealing with a quadricep injury. They had him right now. The one that I'm looking at is listed as game time status, but the reports that I heard were he was out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going from what I heard. He was out. What I read,
just typical Connor. You know what I mean? Like one game in, one game out.
Hey, the best ability is availability, and if you're not on the field, man, what the hell do they need you for? Like you're going to find yourself. It sucks, but you might find yourself being replaced. You know what I'm saying? Like sooner or later, you're going to get replaced if you can't stay on the field. But I mean, it's the truth. It's flat out what it is. It doesn't mean I hate James Conner. I think he's a good running back. You have to be good to be in the league. But it is what it is. You have to be out on the football field. You talked about Joe Burrow being out, and that would have been this would have been such a good story, good build up to what would have been a great Monday Night Football game. I know you have the Steelers being, as dominant as they've been in the regular season. Then you would have had Joe Burrow being the rookie, being the new kid on the block in the AFC North, being the guy that's supposed to lead the Bengals out of the abyss.
Right.
And he went down with a terrible injury. Hopefully he bounced back. I hope he bounces back, because I think the dude's the truth. And before he left, he was 65% completions, 2,688 yards, 13 touchdowns to 5 picks. He was doing great, man. He was doing great for the Bengals. It's shitty that you don't get to see that there tonight, but hey, it is what it is. Pittsburgh's going to have to find a way to win, man. They've been roughed up. They have the number one defense, but the problem is that they can't find a way to score other than pass the ball. And teams are realizing that, and they're realizing that quickly, and they're starting to game plan for that. They're sending everything at Ben, and he's not young Ben. Talked about that before. You talked about that before. He's not young Ben. You start hitting Ben. You start getting Ben, on his back, having to get up and down. You're going to wear him out in the end. He's going to give you a duck. We talked about that before. And, in the past few and there are only 2 losses of the season, he's done that.
Yeah, I mean, almost every single interception he's thrown this year has just been something ugly. I mean, like they're not like lined in passes and the DB's jumping in front of the receiver. It's throw this up there and the ball's just wiggling all over up in the air, like 18 feet in the air, and someone just goes up against it.
Yeah,
it's bad. It's bad. But yeah, hey, I mean, if you're playing the Steelers and you could get to Ben with your front seven, I mean, more power. I consider that a win right there, because then you can keep your secondary wherever. You don't have to bring another guy down in the box. You can use another guy in nickel if you want to. If you want to put more speed out there on the field, put the nickel guy out there, and then have better coverage on those receivers while they're out there running.
I just think I just feel like you could hit them. You could hit them with a pass rush. I mean, the pass protection has been decent, but you could hit them with a straight pass rush. The Bengals, I mean, they got the number 16th overall defense. So, I mean, they're middle of the pack. They're not bad. They lost Carlos Dunlap to the Steelers. Yeah, that is what it is. You're going to have to cut dead weight from an old regime that was going to probably end up holding you, dragging you down anyway. So, for me, it was good for Carlos Dunlap. It's good for the Bengals. But, like I was saying, the Bengals are no slouch when it comes to defense. They're not spectacular, but they'll hold their own, and they will come after you. I feel like the Steelers' offensive line, in those losses and in some of these games, some of the closer games in the season for the Steelers, they're susceptible. They could get beat. They could get beaten. If the Bengals play, inspired. You have a few more games left in the season. With you got a division rival coming in at 11-2. You have you have that motivation factor. You have that that hey, screw it. Let's go ahead and Grinch these fools before we get put away on the couch for the rest of the season coming up in a couple weeks. Yeah,
and the other big thing is it is a division game, so it's not like the Steelers are anything new to them. They've been playing the Steelers since forever, so they're well accustomed to what Ben likes to do. How he plays. They kind of probably know a little bit about what kind of blitzes get through. Things like that. So it's a little different than playing somebody outside of your division that you may only see once every 2 or 3 years. You're seeing these guys twice a year for the past however many years. So they that right there with that having a little knowledge of kind of like what the Steelers like to do. Maybe even know some of his reads, some of his tells. There's other things that go into it. So I mean, it's that familiarity is a huge plus for a team, especially when you're playing somebody like the Steelers that's high powered.
You're right, and I mean the Steelers, like we said, the Steelers' offense is not high powered. They're ranked like 29th in the league. They're the Bengals right here. I got the NFL rankings. The Bengals are 31st in the league total offense. The Steelers are 29th in the league total offense. So, I mean they're close. They have the offenses to match. It's just head and shoulders above the rest. They're number 1 in the league, bro. They could win the game on their own.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we see a good game. Hopefully it's not hopefully it's not a blowout relatively quickly. I feel like it'll be a blowout late. I feel like it's going to be Pittsburgh. So it's like Pittsburgh 33, Cincinnati. I'll give them 16.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. I mean, it's all going to depend on those receivers and if they could get a pass rush. I'm gonna actually go with the upset, man.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go with the upset. The Steelers. I mean, I know they have a pretty good defense, especially in that front seven, and I love Minkah Fitzpatrick out back. So it's going to be tough for the Bengals. But if Joe Mixon if they can block for Joe Mixon and Joe Mixon can start finding some lanes and start running and wearing those guys down, I don't know, man. I think either way, it's going to be close.
I like Joe Mixon.
Yeah, he's not bad. Like I said, he's like probably the one shining thing on that offense. I mean, unless you would have thrown aging AJ Green in that statement, but
you could throw AJ Green on a contender next year. Trade him off.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
All right, so he won't cost near as much as he would in his prime.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you still can find something. You could find something for him if you're the Bengals, and for a team, a contender, you get a talent like that. He still has some talent. A team like a New England would try to find and squeeze every bit of juice. But I feel like New England's going to go in another route. I think they're going to go in a totally different route. I think they're going to go way younger and try to.
It's blown up. It's blown up over there. And then you got Gilmore getting hurt on Sunday too. So. They've got big time questions over there, but yeah, I'm going to pick the upset. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a track meet by any means. I think it's going to be like I'm going to say the Bengals 23, Steelers 21.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. That's not like out of the box. Like they're going to go ahead and run all over them,
right?
Throwing them out. I mean, the Steelers have been underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
In the past few weeks, and I wouldn't put it past them, especially if the offense turns it over. If the defense of the Bengals, like I said, they're middle of the pack, they're not amazing. But like I said, if you find some type of motivation, you get, energized. Like I said, they're being ridiculed, so maybe they have some fight in them. But the criticism of the Pittsburgh Steelers is not unjust. It's not unwarranted, man. Like they don't have a running game. They only have Ben and the receivers. That's it.
Yeah,
they have the defense. They have the defense, but you got Ben. What was Ben going to pass 152 times?
Right.
Is he going to hit him every time? Like, no, bro. Like,
yeah.
You have to find some juice running the football. And if James Conner's not going to be in there, I don't think Snell and I forgot the other guy that's Samuels. I don't think Snell Samuels are gonna be the guys that get you over the hump, especially in the playoffs. You're gonna need Ben to throw 50 times against the best defenses in the league. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Right. I doubt that's going to be the recipe for success.
Yeah, no, I mean, like they're everybody knows, we've seen it over the last couple of weeks. They're a very suspect 11-2 team. They're not. Let's just take the Chiefs. That's has like almost the exact same record as them, but I think the Chiefs only lost once so far to the Raiders. But if you look at those two teams side by side, you're like, there's clearly one that's way better than the other. Not to say that the Steelers can't get hot and let that triple-headed monster they got out there on the wide receiver position get loose. And they can go, but it doesn't seem to be the case over the last couple of weeks. It's kind of just squeaking out, and in the last couple of weeks, I mean, they dropped him. So Claypool, he had a touchdown per game every game up until week 10, and then after that, I don't even know that he has another touchdown. So it's going to be interesting, man. Like I said, it's a division game, so I mean, I don't think they probably want to be like, hey, these guys go to the playoffs. Let's move them back, kick them down a notch. But it's also a division game, so Cincinnati, that should be enough for them. But like I said, it's going to come down to execution on the Steelers, and if the Steelers are executing, then yeah, it's probably going to be a score like what you talked about. But if they're fledgling, it's going to be a close game.
It's like, dude, I feel like the Pittsburgh defense could win this game on their own.
Yeah,
this game on their own. It's all a matter of how the Bengals are. How the Bengals find a way to keep their offense on the field and sustain drives, move the football. I mean, like I said, number one defense in the league, they could get after you. I know they're out without Bud Dupree, but I mean, one man doesn't make the team. It's a huge loss. Don't get me wrong, but one guy isn't going to make or break that defense. You just have too much talent, too good of a coaching staff that's led by Mike Tomlin. I can't say enough good things about Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers are run. It's like, for my team, the Chicago Bears, look at that. Do that. Mm-hmm. Be that. Because, as a football fan, you're envious of an organization like that who just weathers the storm and make the tough decisions, but end up coming out on top time and time again. Be that is what I would like. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a great football franchise. And Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the league. I mean, he's going to be one of the best coaches of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's what every franchise dreams of. It's just like being like a Steelers. I mean, they're either in the playoffs or they're on the cusp of getting in the playoffs. So they haven't had that backwards season yet, where everything kind of just goes and then they're in the bottom of the tank. They're always still competing with for playoff position. There, like I said, there's not many out there like that, and that's like the most coveted job in football is a coaching for the Steelers, because they only switch coaches like every 20 years.
Jeez, I mean, they have 3?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
3, was it like Noel Coward and
Tomlin?
And Tomlin.
Yeah.
That's all you. I mean, that's great. Like I said, that's just great. You find the people you find good people and people that believe in the franchise, believe in what you're talking about, and you can only look up to an organization like the Steelers. Like that's keep it tight. Like, just their football, they win football, the winning football. You want to look at like we talked about the Patriots, but they weren't winning until Belichick showed up. The Steelers have always been winning, bro. They've always been in the conversation. You can start talking about the Baltimore Ravens like that as well. They're running their organization, similar to how Pittsburgh's running. It's like just winning football. focus on winning football. Yeah, man, let's get to wrap things up for us here on the Basement Monsters Game Day podcast. Hopefully, Luke says it's going to be an upset. I'll look forward to it, man. I don't care about being wrong in this game. It's not my team.
Yeah, me neither. So, I mean, hey, why not go for the underdog?
Why not go for the underdog, right? But, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. If we get to you guys at halftime, you will see an update. But if not, we will hit you guys up in the post. Until then, this has been the Basement Monsters Game Day podcast. Hold on, real quick. Why aren't other teams trying to emulate the Steelers? Like, it blows my mind, Armando. It blows my mind why teams wouldn't want to.
No, it's not that they don't want to. It's just that they hire goofy bastards like Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, and it's just these front office guys. Like there's only a handful of like front office guys that are, like good. And one of them, I know the Chiefs. I don't know if he's still there, but I know the Chiefs had him. Was that Scott Pioli? Like there's some guys in the. John Lynch, look at what John Lynch did in San Francisco. Like it's in the front office is where that starts.
I feel like you have guys that could speak the language that have probably been around some football, but are more or less.
They're more executives, not football guys.
Of the language and the ongoings of behind the scenes instead of like winning football. Like they know what's going on, but they really aren't focused on how to get the product on the field to be what they want. They could talk a good game is what I'm saying. But when it comes to putting a product on the field, sometimes they lack. Sometimes these guys get in their own way with their own philosophies and their own wants. Everybody wants to put a stamp on it. Nobody wants to say, all right, this was never mine. This is like the football, like the Chicago Bears, for instance, right? The Chicago Bears are defense and run first. I know guys want to reinvent the wheel and try to get this team to be a indoor, throw it 300 times.
Right.
Team. Throw it in the air, throw it in the air. It doesn't work that way here. It just doesn't. And all you need is a competent quarterback. That's what Chicago needs. That's what Pittsburgh drafted. Ben, for the most part, has been criticized in Pittsburgh, but Ben is competent enough to get the ball to receivers. They put talent around Ben. They had a running game for a while.
Yeah, because you saw what the Steelers were without Ben. So I mean, it's
you saw
pick your poison.
You saw what the Steelers were without Ben. Some of these quarterbacks get into a position that like they luck into, like a Mahomes. Great situation. Where the Bears lack is, and what Armando's saying about the front office, they get guys that, like I said, it always seems like they want to turn the Bears and whatever the hell they want the Bears to be, instead of focusing on what the Bears are. Like as a football team, like if you put the guys out on the field to be a run type of a football team, if you draft those guys, well, my God, aren't you a running football team? Like if you don't have the personnel, if you don't have the speed to be a passing offense, well, I'm pretty sure you could be a short mid-range running offense and still find success. The thing is if you build the defense, if you put all your money on defense and then expect there to be some type of savior that's going to find offense on the cheap, you're out of your fucking mind. So
or it's either that or they try to get tricky and think that they're going to slick by. Like we could get around it by having these fancy play calls. Like that's the stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah, we could just put a ribbon on a pile of shit and hope it work. Like I said, it starts in the draft. Ryan Pace, like they just dropped the ball for the past two GMs and the past two head coaches. It's all been shit. It's all been trash, dude. And I think really what a lot of it boils down to as well is like, these guys are, they're owners. They're in it. It's a business. So I feel like some of these guys they bring in businessmen. They may be great businessmen, but they're horrible talent men. Like they may know numbers, but they don't know talent. And that trickles down. And that goes for players and coaches. I'm not just saying that they don't know the players, but they don't coaches or whatever. You meet some other guy that's oh, hi, how you doing? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, guys. And then you got guys that go to work. It's and then sometimes it's even the owners that are the culprits of teams just being terrible. And I think you're going to see the biggest one blow up in your face, and that's going to be Dallas because they don't know what they're doing down there. Look at the Browns because Kevin Stefanski comes in for Freddie Kitchen, right? And you get. I think Dorsey gets. John Dorsey gets. He leaves as well. I'm pretty sure he's gone. I might be totally wrong. Let me see if I can find it. Who's the GM? Either way, they move on from their head coach. They start to move. They've been switching shit up in the front office for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They finally got it right, and it wasn't the players on the field have to most of the time. It was what was going on in the front office and the coach. They've lucked into some drafts, and how could you not when you're drafting first overall? Like
the last 18 years,
90% of the past 20 years, you're drafting first overall. What do you think is going to happen? You're gonna finally have some players, and they had the balls to go out and get some free agents as well. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we'll see. Like I said, there's a lot of things that are going to change in the NFL team wise. There's going to be a lot of teams making moves at this offseason, especially. So there's a lot of places that are vacant right now. They don't have coaches. There's going to be some managers gone. It's going to be an interesting offseason here for the NFL and leading up to the draft. So I'm excited. I'm ready to see some other teams, which directions they go, and I'd like to see some teams that we don't normally talk about that much come up.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna get out of here for real this time. This has been the Baseball Podcast on SportsZone Chicago.
Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Straight cash, homie.
Hold on to your butts.
I just heard my favorite band is in town. I'd love to get good seats, but everywhere I've looked, the ticket sites have crazy service fees.
Haven't you heard of TixSplits?
Who?
TixSplits. They don't gouge you with crazy fees. The price they advertise is the price you pay, plus a small delivery fee.
Never pay service fees again. Go to TIXBLITZ.com today. TixSplits.com. Guaranteed seats, low prices. That's TixSplits.com. Every ticket, every venue, everywhere.